The man didn't dare wipe the sand from his face, knowing that behind him lay a 100-meter cliff. If he fell, he would surely be smashed to pieces. With clenched teeth and furrowed brow, he concentrated all his strength into his fingertips, desperately clutching at the sandy soil. But the sand was too loose to support his weight, and soon his body began to slide downward uncontrollably. In his panic, he thought quickly, spreading his legs wide apart and pressing his head against the ground to create friction. This barely managed to stop his descent. Just then, his phone rang from inside his backpack. A chance for rescue was right in front of him. The man cautiously tried to raise his right hand, but before he could reach his phone, his body slid down another significant distance. Using all four limbs, he managed to brace himself at the edge of the precipice, narrowly escaping death. The situation was dire. Above him was loose sand, below him solid rock. Falling meant certain death. Fear and helplessness consumed him. Suddenly, an idea struck him. He began mumbling to himself, calculating the intervals between waves crashing against the rocks below. After confirming his timing through several observations, the man seized his moment and quickly turned his body, deliberately falling into the sea. Although he wasn't killed from the fall, the shallow water offered little protection, and his waist slammed against a rock, causing him to black out momentarily. Fortunately, he soon regained consciousness and successfully swam to the surface, climbing onto the nearest reef. Having escaped death, the man was overjoyed, and his tense nerves finally relaxed. Just then, he felt a sharp pain in his palm and discovered a 10-centimeter gash, a sight too gruesome for even him to look at. But survival was the priority now. As he stood to leave, he took one step and collapsed heavily onto the rocks, losing consciousness again. After an unknown amount of time, he was finally awakened by the waves. When he tried to move, he discovered he couldn't feel his legs. During his jump, his pelvis had been shattered by the reef, and his feet were gradually losing sensation. He remembered his phone, but it had been completely ruined after prolonged exposure to seawater. Helplessly gazing at the sky, he strained his neck and shouted for help. But in this desolate sea, who else would have thought to come here for surfing? Looking around for a way out, he spotted a distant island, his only hope for survival. After a moment's consideration, he decided to make one last desperate attempt. Slinging his backpack over his shoulder, he painfully dragged himself to the edge of the reef and plunged into the sea. Struggling with his half-paralyzed body, he used one arm to swim forward with all his might. But halfway there, he suddenly felt an excruciating pain in his abdomen and instantly disappeared beneath the surface. His instinctive cry for help dissolved into bubbles. His powerful survival instinct drove him to struggle upward desperately. Finally, he broke the surface, but by then, he was completely exhausted. The prolonged oxygen deprivation to his brain caused him to faint. This time, he had no strength left to fight. His body slowly sank until his feet touched the bottom of the sea.